Hello, students. It's great to see you one more time. And this week, we're going to enjoy a great book by Robert Munsch. The name of the book is Alligator Baby. I guess that's why I'm wearing these alligators on my face. So sit back, relax, and let's enjoy the wonderful, wacky world of Robert Munsch in a very strange story. Alligator Baby by Robert Munsch, illustrated by Michael Martchenko. Ooh, I see an alligator trying to go into an aquarium. One night, Kristen's mother woke up and yelled, "A baby! I'm having a baby!" Okay, let's see what happens. Kristen's father jumped up, zoomed around the room, got dressed, and grabbed Kristen's mother by the hand. They ran downstairs to the car and drove off really fast. Vroom! Unfortunately, they got lost. They didn't go to the hospital. They went to the zoo. But it was okay. Kristen's mother had a lovely baby. Then they drove home and knocked on their front door. Blam, 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 blam. Strange story. Kristen opened the door, and there was her mother, holding something all wrapped up. "Kristen," she said, "would you like to see your new baby brother?" Oh yes, said Kristen. So Kristen lifted up the bottom of the blanket. She saw a long green tail. And said, "That's not a people tail." Kristen lifted up the middle of the blanket, saw a green claw, and said, "That's not a people claw." Kristen lifted up the top of the blanket, saw a long green face with lots of teeth, and said, "That's not a people face. That is not my baby brother." "Now, Kristen," said her mother, "don't be jealous." But can you see what's going on in this picture? I see a long green tail. I'm almost afraid to turn the page, but let's turn the page. Just then, the baby reached up and bit Kristen's mother on the nose. She yelled, "Ah!" Then the baby reached up and bit her father on the nose. He yelled, "Ah!" "That's not a people baby," said Kristen. "That's an alligator baby." "Goodness," said her mother, "we've got the wrong baby." But, well, he does look cute, don't you think? Look at that little smiley alligator. So, Kristen put the alligator baby into the fish tank, and her mother and father drove back to the zoo. They came back in an hour and knocked on the door. Blam, 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 blam. Kristen opened the door, and her mother said, "Would you like to see your new baby brother?" "Oh, yes," said Kristen. "I don't know. It's a really strange, crazy, wacky world. I'm almost afraid to turn the page. But let's see. Let's see what happens." Kristen lifted up the bottom of the blanket, saw a fishy tail, and said, "That's not a people tail." Kristen lifted up the middle of the blanket, saw a flipper, and said, "That's not a people flipper." Kristen lifted up the top of the blanket, saw a face with whiskers, and said, "That's not a people face. That is not my baby brother." "Now, Kristen," said her mother, "don't be jealous." Just then, the baby reached up with its flipper and flapped her father's face. Whap, 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 whap. He yelled, "Oh, it's a seal baby. We've got the wrong baby." So, Kristen put the seal baby in the bathtub, and her father and mother drove back to the zoo. Oh boy. They came back in an hour, and I am looking at the picture. And do you see these little tiny feet? I have a feeling it's not going to go well. Let's keep on reading. They came back in an hour and knocked on the door. Blam, 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 blam. They said, "Kristen, would you like to see your new baby brother?" "Oh, yes," said Kristen. She lifted up the bottom of the blanket, saw a very hairy leg, and said, "That's not a people leg." She lifted up the middle of the blanket, saw a very hairy arm, and said, "That's not a people arm." She lifted up the top of the blanket, saw a very hairy face, and said, "That's not a people face. That is not my baby brother." "Now, Kristen," said her mother, "don't be jealous." Then the baby reached up with its feet and grabbed her mother's ear and her father's ear, and they both yelled, "Ah, it's a gorilla baby! We've got the wrong baby!" "Let me do it," said Kristen. So her father and mother put the gorilla baby on the chandelier in the living room. Now the gorilla baby's hanging from a lamp. And Kristen went off to the zoo on her bicycle. I have a feeling Kristen's going to fix the problem, but let's see. First, Kristen looked in the snake cage. No people babies. Then Kristen looked in the wombat cage. No people babies. Then Kristen looked in the elephant cage. No people babies. Then she stopped and listened. From far away she heard, "Wah, wah, 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 wah." "That's more like it," said Kristen. She followed the sound. It was coming from the gorilla cage. Kristen looked at the mommy gorilla and said, "Give me my baby brother." The gorilla jumped away and wouldn't give the baby back at all. Uh-oh, and Mama Gorilla looks a little bit angry. Shall we turn the page? Okay, you asked for it. Then the people baby reached up and bit the gorilla on the nose, and the gorilla yelled, "Ah!" and handed the baby to Kristen. Kristen jumped on her bicycle and pedaled home. Kristen knocked on the door. Blam, 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 blam. When her parents opened it, she said, "Would you like to see your new baby?" Kristen's mother lifted up the bottom of the blanket and said, "Look, people legs." She lifted up the middle of the blanket and said, "Look, people hands." She lifted up the top of the blanket and said, "Look, a people face." Kristen's mother picked up the baby and gave it a big hug. Her father took the baby and gave it a big hug. Her mother said, "Kristen, Kristen, you got the baby back. Good for you." "But what are we going to do with all these other babies?" yelled Kristen's father. "There's a seal baby in the bathtub, and an alligator baby in the fish tank, and a gorilla baby hanging from the chandelier. We should take them back to the zoo." But Kristen looked out the window and said, can you guess what she said? Can you guess what she saw when she looked out the window? Let's see. I don't think we'll have to do anything at all. Okay, that is one strange household. Very, very unique family. And everything was okay until Kristen's mother had twins. Oh boy, but that's another book. Okay, I really enjoyed this lovely story by the great Robert Munsch. I hope that you did too. Reread the story and keep on reading. This is Ms. Rosato saying goodbye. See you again next week.